I love food, I love nature, and I love art. Today I'm here at the Pottery Garden and we're going to be exploring the art of pottery making with one of the BVI's greatest potters. Join me. This is Portia at Lady Sarah's Farm Lifestyle Edition. So here I am today meeting my distant friend, Mr. Carl Burnett, the owner, operator, manager, sole potter of the Pottery Garden. And believe me, it's an absolutely amazing place to be. So good to see you, Carl.
Portia, welcome. Thanks so much for coming. It's a pleasure to
Yes.
have you here at the Pottery Garden.
I mean, it is really beautiful. If you haven't been here before, please do take the opportunity. He does have gift certificates for lessons, and you can get beautiful gifts and so forth. But what I really want you to see today is how gorgeous the grounds are, and then we're going to talk about some of the things he's done here, and also what was your inspiration for getting started. So that's the first thing we want to talk to you about.
All right, well, welcome to the Pottery Garden. This is our small pottery grounds. It is a labor of love. I am what you refer to as a studio potter, which means I basically take out the pottery making process solo.
Right.
So it's a joy of mine, pottery. I love tinkering, I love making. Inspiration per se, I have no particular inspiration other than I love making. So
You love making.
yeah.
Okay. So apart from making pottery, we see that you've really spent a lot of time with your garden, developing your garden. So why don't you take us firstly on a little tour of the garden, and
Okay.
then we'll see some of your pottery.
All right, sure.
Yeah.
As you see, it's called the Pottery Garden, and our slogan is an earth-made experience.
Okay.
Right? So the garden goes hand in hand with the pottery because it's a holistic experience. Pottery is, earth, fire, and water.
Right.
The elements combine together, right? So the settings in which I create was important for me, and the vibe I wanted to create for people to come and experience was important to me. Initially, when I used to make pottery before having this space, I used to walk in really cramped, tight places.
Right.
And there was still a joy there. However, having somewhere like this where you could create in, it really opens the space mentally and physically to allow you to be more free to create.
So the first thing I noticed, and I actually asked you for a slip of this when I came in because I was just so mesmerized. Tell us about this plant. I've never actually seen it before.
So this plant, just like you, I was educated about this plant. Initially when I got it, I think we actually acquired it from the Botanical Gardens. When I got it, it never flowered. It didn't have anything on it. It was actually quite small, and it grew for a while, and it just had these broad leaves on there. And one day, magically, I see it bared a small pink flower, which there aren't many on there right now. Anyways, the pink flower came, this nice red fluffy ball came, and I was like, wow, this is amazing and it's beautiful. Then one day, an aunt of mine visited, and she said, oh, you have a lipstick plant.
Oh.
And she then explained to me, this is called the lipstick plant. You can see the vibrant red color. And then from the seeds, you can get a red dye, which I was rubbing some on my finger earlier for you.
Okay.
And even if you squash the ripe fruit, you'll get a red juice as well, which is like a red dye.
So they use it to make lipstick?
They use, in primitive cultures, I assume, yes, they use it for lipstick and makeup. As if you rub it on your lips, you'll probably get a red stain on there. And also, someone else told me that it has culinary uses. Actually, more than one person has told me this. I've forgotten the culinary name.
Okay, I will
but it's
definitely
basically
research.
used for red food coloring.
Okay.
And I was told that in Puerto Rico they do a special lobster dish where they use this to color the lobster meat pink.
Ah.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to do the research on this, and I want to take some away with me. So walk us around the rest of the garden. I see you have a huge kiln over there.
Yes. Yeah. So the garden is also a labor of love. Although it's fairly young, it looks, I don't know, at least to me it's grown some, but it's fairly young. We actually started the garden before Orma, and after Orma only 3 trees remained, which are still here growing nicely. So if you look around this way, we have a sapodilly tree. Sapodilly is a fruit that grows. I don't know if it's that common here. I've never eaten one myself, so I can't wait on the tree to bear.
Okay, I grew up eating sapodilla,
Okay.
and we used to make gum from the milk that comes from the green sapodilla.
wow.
Yes,
Okay.
as you know, with the leaf and there's this milky, sappy substance that comes from the green sapodilla.
Yeah.
So as kids, we made gum, chewing
Okay.
gum.
Wow.
Yeah, but
That's
the
interesting.
fruit is absolutely delicious.
Okay.
It really is brown on the outside
Yeah.
when it's ripe, and brown on the inside as well, and usually has about 3 black seeds. So I'm gonna be coming down here, and I think
This one was grown from seed, and after Orma, for about a month or so, we thought this was gone because we couldn't
Okay.
find it. Literally, we couldn't find it. However, about a month after Orma, cleaning up the rubble, we literally found it completely pressed onto the ground, still alive, and here it is now, growing
yeah,
lovely.
it's
So.
growing beautifully. You have hibiscus, you have moringa.
Yes, so the garden is almost like a little jungle. It's very mixed. It's not organized. It's not laid out in the traditional manner, I guess you would
More
say.
like
I'm
a
not sure.
permaculture garden.
Yes, yes. So we have a mixture of different ornamental plants and trees, some flowering plants. We have a whole bunch of different fruit trees tucked in. We have star apple, we have golden apple, we have breadfruit, avocado, lemon, guava, soursop, gooseberry, we have sugar apple, we have cherries,
Oh,
we have
wow.
passion fruit.
I
There's
saw
a
the
whole
passion- I
there's
saw
a
the
whole lot
passion
in here.
fruit.
Yeah, so the garden is really a joy of mine. I actually spend quite some time in the garden here. I would say the pottery and the garden divide me, hence the Pottery Garden. You might think I might spend all day here potting, but I actually do spend a lot of time
In the
tending
garden
to the
as well.
garden. Yeah.
So right behind you is a fairly good-sized kiln.
Yes.
Tell us about that, and tell us who constructed it.
All right, so this is an outdoor wood-fired kiln, right? After I was intrigued by pottery, carrying out my personal little studies in pottery and so on, I discovered what you call wood-fired pottery,
Okay.
which is a style of firing pots, obviously in a kiln that's powered by wood, which gives you a distinct characteristic to the pots, which is
Okay.
achieved by the atmosphere in the kiln, the flame, and the ash from the fire as well. I've never wood fired. The kiln is still fresh.
Okay.
Still waiting to be fired, hopefully sometime
You do
soon.
have quite a collection of wood, though,
And
which
I
means
think-
you intend to wood fire at some point.
Yes, very much so. Hopefully we'll be firing off fairly soon.
Okay.
But the kiln this is actually the second one. This is the second kiln we built. The first one was a lot more primitive than this one. It was actually
Okay.
just made from clay, mud, wood shavings, and stone, and so on. And it was slightly smaller than this one, just
Okay.
slightly smaller. It was just completed. We just finished the arch on it when Oma really completed it, and we started over. So this kiln was built with a special refractory cement that I had to import. It's a special cement that could withstand the high temperatures that I intend to fire to. I make a type of pottery called stoneware, which is fired to a higher temperature.
Okay.
And then we covered the kiln in stone afterwards. So it's a casted kiln. It's casted in a refractory mix, and then it's covered in stone. I did the stonework on it. I'm very proud of it. I
Was just going to ask you, who did the actual physical labor?
Yeah, so I did get some help with this second kiln. Also the first one as well, because it was really labor intensive. But I did a lot of the work on the kiln. A lot of the work in general on the entire pottery grounds I did myself, along with a few very faithful friends and helpers and so on. But a lot of the work was done solo. it
Which,
was truly a labor of love.
which
Yeah.
says you're really passionate about what you do.
Yeah, well, for me, creating the right environment was really important. You know, the ambience can make a complete difference in whatever you're trying to present. So,
And you've created quite the ambiance here, I must say.
so this tree right here, this is called the carrot fruit or the cane fruit tree.
Really?
Yes, it is. It's a very unique tree.
Edible fruit?
Yes, the fruit is edible. So here is one of the fruits. It's not fully ripe as yet, though. I got this tree from a guy. There's a Rastaman that sells plants in town, a
Buy
Rastaman
bodies?
called Kukuai. Yes. So I got a lot of my real unique plants from him, I would say. So shameless plug right there. I don't know, but anyways, it's called a carrot fruit because, as you see, it's kind of shaped like a carrot, right?
Yes.
And as it ripens, it turns to like an orangish color. There's only one other tree I know of, and that tree, the fruits on that one actually turns to a yellowish color. Mine's
okay.
actually turns orangish.
And you've had fruit before?
Yes, I've had fruit before, and I assume it's called a cane fruit because you chew on it like a sugar cane, and it tastes similar to sugar cane.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is very nice. Yeah.
I must go and look for him.
Yes, yes. And this here is actually a white pomegranate that's completely covered in vines at the moment.
Okay, have you gotten white
I've
pomegranate?
gotten plenty from it before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So we're now entering the gallery where Mr. Burnett has all of his pottery work displayed. Very talented young man, I have to say. I am pleased to have a few of his pieces at Lady Sarah's. Very tiny, so I need to up my game and purchase a few bigger pieces. But take us around the gallery and tell us about the pieces, inspiration behind the pieces. And also, you're all the way here in Josiah's Bay. Do people really travel to find you? You're tucked away in this beautiful little corner of Josiah's Bay. How challenging is it to get people down here?
All right, so first off, welcome to the gallery.
Yes.
This is our small space where I sell most of my work from and display my work. As you see, it's nice and white in here. That was something I always had set in my mind. I wanted my pots to be displayed on a white background. But we have a selection of different pieces in here, ranging from small ornamental pieces, functional pieces, decorative pieces. And I think you should be able to maybe find something for everyone down here. Yes, we are very much so tucked away. Those who seek me out, those who are interested, they find me.
Okay.
And I appreciate them for doing so.
Okay.
But inspiration, like I said, I really have no main inspiration. As you could look around and see, almost everything in here looks different.
Yes.
So it's not like I'm inspired by trees and I make a bunch of pots that are inspired by trees or something. I really like I said, tinkering and making. So that's one of the main reasons why you see a bunch of different things. Some special pieces I like, some very new pieces that just came out is one like this. This has been sitting next door on my shelf waiting to be fired for a few months.
Okay.
And I finally fired it the other day and I'm quite pleased with how it came out. Another new piece that I quite like some is the tree that I modeled. This one right here.
Okay.
And if you notice, I'm pointing out some pieces that are actually hand built.
For all of those artists out there who really are just terrified of going into their 9 to 5 every day, this is what they really want to do. This is their passion, but they're afraid that they wouldn't be able to eat bread from it.
Yeah.
Talk to a bit about that for us.
All right, okay, so for those who maybe do art as a passion and think about it and dream about it as being their livelihood, I would say really think about it really hard. I would say that fear that some people have is probably a real fear. It's not something in their mind because, in all honesty, if you want to set out to be an artist, it's something that you have to decide. It's a true journey, right? It's not easy. However, if it's your true passion, if you have the drive, and if you truly create art, I would say go for it. Don't be afraid. Just go for it. Because at the end of the day, only you can control your destiny, and only you can decide if you're gonna make it or not. The public doesn't decide if you're gonna make it or not. You decide
You
that
have
for
to decide
yourself.
that.
You have to know that, all right, I'm gonna create, and my creation will be beautiful.
Yes.
So what we're doing now is just preparing the clay to go onto the potter's wheel, so we could throw. So the process of making a pot on the potter's wheel is called throwing, right? And the wheel has been invented, I don't know, for thousands of years. Man have been making pot on the wheel for quite some time. So what we're gonna do is nothing new. It's something that's been done for a very long time. So we're just preparing the clay so that it's very smooth and a consistent mix, so that it could walk easily on the wheel. Alright, so here we are at the wheel. We're gonna set up our hump for making, what we're gonna call it? Mini bowls?
No, we call it condiment bowl.
Condiment bowls. We're gonna be making some condiment bowls. So I'm gonna teach my friend Portia here how to throw off the hump and make some condiment bowls. Just realizing I'm missing one thing. It'll be alright. So what I'll do for us is I'll get the hump set up for us. So now this is a technique when making stuff on the wheel. If you're making a whole bunch of small stuff, it's really easier to walk off the hump, because instead of having to recenter and place a whole bunch of small individual balls on the wheel, you could just go from one lump and keep going and going. So the basic idea is we're gonna center within, when you're making something on the wheel, the first thing you have to do is center the clay, which is basically getting it spinning perfectly through in the middle of the wheel. So we're just gonna center a small ball on the top of the hump of the clay, and then we're gonna make a little bowl on the top.
And we'll keep doing that.
Yes. So first we'll raise up a little ball. We raise up the clay a bit, and then we'll center off a little ball on the top. Not too big, even though it's actually quite big. And then we're gonna go in, we're gonna break in. This is called breaking in. We're actually starting the vessel right there. And then we're gonna make the small little bowl on the top.
I have a theory in my head, but I don't know how I will get it done.
Don't worry, I'll help you walk through it. All right, so what I'm doing, what I did was, after I centered the ball, I went right down in the center with my finger. And then what I'm gonna do is with my left hand on the inside. Are you right-handed?
I'm right-handed, yes.
Wonderful. With your left hand, you're gonna put your left hand on the inside and your right hand right on the outside, and you're gonna use your fingers to shape the bowl. All right. And now that the bowl is basically finished, is that bowl big enough for you? A little bigger?
A little bigger, yes.
A little big. She says a little
A
bigger.
little wider.
All right, a little wider. All right, so we'll widen the bowl slightly, maybe about there.
Yes,
Is that okay?
yes, yes, perfect.
All right. We get the shape nice. Is that a good shape for you?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Just take out a little bit of that moisture that's in there. Smoothing up the rim of the pot a bit. All right, now here comes the fun part. Are you ready? Are you ready, Portia?
Yes.
All right. We have to remove this pot from on the top.
So you're
now.
going to use like a wire or...
We're gonna use a thread, and let's hope it doesn't go flying. This is always the fun part. So let me see if I could clean off my hand a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna use the thread to cut the pot off, and I'm gonna catch the pot with my left hand, hopefully. Are your fingers crossed? All right, so here we go. There you go, and we cut. We center at the top. We break in. All right, and we're using water as a lubricant. Okay, if you notice, I'm water in the pot all the time. And then we're gonna form a little bowl on the top. Okay, you see? And this time around, we're gonna measure properly, so we don't cut a hole in the bowl. Is that okay? Is that about where you wanted it the first time?
Yes.
Alright, so let's come down a little lower so we make sure we don't cut the bowl in two. So we shape right there a bit. We're still good? We're looking good?
Yes.
Alright, okay. She says yes, so I think we're looking good.
This one is a little thinner.
Would you like it thinner? A bit more delicate? Alright.
Yeah.
I was thinking that myself.
Okay.
Alright.
Looking good.
Maybe about there now? We good now?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's just make sure the bottom is nice and smooth. Alright, fingers crossed we don't cut right through it this time, alright? You ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, here we go. Alright.
Perfect.
It's hard for me to judge the size, but I don't know. That's why you're there. You're supposed to be checking for
all
me.
right. Looks good. Looks good. Looks
You
good.
sure?
Yes, looks good. Looks good.
Alright, so we'll take this one off as well then. Alright, Portia, are you ready?
I'm ready, like Freddy.
Alright. Let's get this last one off. I hold the thread about right where I want to cut it. And I'm going to release the thread. It's going to naturally wrap around. And I'm going to pull this back at the same time. Meanwhile, I'm catching it with the left hand as it flies off. It's tricky. But I think you'll have it. It comes natural. It comes very natural. I think I caught my first one ever. It's not that hard.
Okay. The newest potter on the block.
So here's what you're gonna do, right? You're gonna have your left hand on the inside of the pot and your right hand on the outside. And you're using these fingers to squeeze the clay together, and then you're gonna draw up the clay gently. Alright, so I began the bowl for you, you're gonna continue it, alright? Let's maybe just go down a bit more, give you a little bit more bowl to make. Alright, there you go.
Okay, so there.
So one finger on the inside, one on the outside. Now be gentle, alright?
Oh, gentle.
Don't be too aggressive, otherwise it might just tear apart in your hands.
Oh,
There you go. Alright, bring your hands up and we'll...
it's wonky. Something's not right. Okay, so how do you stop it now if I want
Alright, okay, alright. Gently release the clay. Just
Okay.
gently release the clay. Alright, slow down the speed on the wheel a little bit.
to...
Let's see what
by
your bowl
going
is
which
looking
direction?
like.
That way?
Just like your vehicle, just...
Oh, I don't
Don't-
know.
There you go. Alright. I don't think there's much we could do to this. Let's call this your first bowl. We're gonna
Yes.
cut this one off and we'll try again.
I don't mind. Some people
Alright.
have ugly children and they love them all the same.
Oh gosh. Alright, do you wanna attempt to cut?
Okay.
Alright, so there you go.
So,
You're gonna hold the thread about right there. Then you're gonna release it from in this hand. You're gonna okay, hang on. Stop the wheel. Stop the wheel. Don't try to catch it. Alright, so what you wanted to do was you wanted to hold this with your hand. Press the wheel again to go forward. You wanted to hold this thread with your hand. Go ahead and pull this through. Alright? So like this.
okay. Gracious Father, I made a bowl with lots of help from Mr. Burnett. A wonky bowl, but
Let's
guess
try
what?
one more.
It's
Let's try
my
one more.
wonky bowl.
You love it?
I love it.
Oh gosh.
It's been great spending time with you. I've really enjoyed it, even though I didn't successfully produce my condiment cups. But
was-
I will definitely be back. This is really a great location for people to come and do a little pottery class and sit in the tea shop, have a cup of tea or a glass of wine, and just spend a day. I would spend the weekend if you had a room, actually.
Yeah, so alright, so like I said on Made Experience, the vibes about down here is you don't have to come here solely just to do a class. You don't have to come here and feel pressured that you must buy a pot. The studio is open, the pottery is open. If I'm here walking, if you feel like it, you can come down and watch me walk. If you're in the area and you want to sit on the bench and have your lunch, feel free to do that. If you want to come and just walk around the gallery and look at the pots, feel free to do that. That's actually something I often do at the other potteries on Tortola. And whenever I travel, if I make it to a pottery shop or anything like that, I love just browsing around and looking at pots.
So feel free to come down and enjoy the space. It's about the experience. Here is an experience pottery. It's not just about a product, it's about the experience.
Great. So I want to say to all of our viewers, like, comment, and share, and do leave the comments down below, and do visit the Pottery Garden whenever you have a free moment. Carl, it's been amazing.
Thank you, Portia. It was a
Great.
pleasure having you.
Lifestyle Edition.